Hello everybody! Today I want to talk about homeschooling a child with some disabilities, learning disabilities or social disabilities. I've got several of those. We've got, and I hate to label, but just, so everyone knows kind of what I'm dealing with, so you know that you're not the only one out there. We've got ADHD, ODD, Selective Mutism, Dyslexia, some of those all in one child, some, one here or there in some of the other children, and sometimes, it's really frustrating. I was watching the animated short by Pixar, Float, about this dad who has this little child who can float, who flies, and the dad is worried about what everybody else thinks. He's worried that his child is different. He's ashamed and he hides in the house. When he takes his child out, he fills his backpack full of rocks to keep him down on the ground like everyone else. He has a little leash on him, to keep him put so he doesn't float away. They walk past a park. He thinks about how he would really like to go in there, and he looks down and his child is gone, and his child has taken the backpack off and gone into the park and is floating around. And the dad panics. He rushes in, he grabs his child, he pulls him out of the park, and as he's pulling, his child is screaming, throwing a fit like, ah, the child doesn't want to go. The dad is just getting more frustrated, more frustrated. Finally he turns around and he takes him and he says, "Why can't you just be normal?" And at that moment while I'm watching the show, I'm like thinking, that's so terrible. Like, how could anybody do that? Can't he see that his child has this wonderful gift? Like, why is he ashamed of him? Why is he yelling at him and saying he needs to be normal? And then it hits me that I'm the same way. Exactly the same way. I don't say it to my child, and the other day, this was a couple months ago actually. I've been thinking of doing this video for a while and I just haven't done it because I don't want to, embarrass my children in any way. And it's kind of a hard subject to talk about, but I think it needs to be said, it needs to get out there so that other people can know that, hey, they're not alone. Like, you're not alone. There are other people here struggling with the same kinds of things. Anyway, all my other kids are tying their shoes, getting ready to go. Well, my one child, who is one of the oldest children, can't tie his shoes. And I'm being really patient, trying to teach him how to do it, and he's just not listening. He doesn't want to do it, gets super frustrated, just like throws his shoes, stomps off, and I had that exact thought, like, why can't you just be normal? Like, other kids your age can tie their shoes. Why is this a big deal for you? Like, that's what I'm thinking, like, why can't my child just be normal? And then I get back to reality and I'm like, you know what? Oh, like, does he even need to tie his shoes? He can go through life without tying shoes. So I go online, I order these shoelaces that don't need to be tied. They just have the little slidey thing. I'm like, he can totally go through life without tying his shoes. Like, why is this a big deal? It's not. And I wish I could go back in time and just be supportive of him and just show him how much I love him and not inadvertently make him feel ashamed that he can't tie his shoes because it's something that everyone should know how to do, So and it's not just little things like that. It's, during homeschool, like, I see these other videos of these mamas who are going through their daily rhythm, their daily plan, and they're showing us how they work with their kids, and their kids are just there, doing their workbooks and doing what they're supposed to do. And I'm sure it's not like that every single day, but for the most part it seems like, most kids will just, do their work, and it's okay. Well, that's not the case at our house with this one particular child, but with another one as well. Like, we have to do different things. And there are things other than just tying our shoelaces that, they're not doing, like, they're quote unquote at their level. And I think just I need to remember that there's not a certain level. Like, our society with public school has put these levels. Oh yeah, your kid should be doing this and this and this at this age and this and this and this at this age, and if they're not, they're falling behind. And so what? Who says that's the case? You know what? It's not. My child's unique. My child has special gifts, just like this child who could float. Wow. How amazing is that? We need to see the special gifts in our children. We can, because we're their parents. And we need to remember those, though, and play to those strengths. And other things, you know what? Maybe they don't need to know that. Maybe my child can function in the world without tying his shoes. If it's something they do need to do, well, maybe it's going to take more time. Maybe it's going to take a different kind of method. They'll do it when they're ready, and that's okay. That's okay. Like, there's not a certain thing that my child has to be doing at this certain age. My child is unique. My child's not a mini-me. My child is not supposed to be what society says they're supposed to be. But it's my job to help my child become the person that they are meant to be. Not the person that I think they should be or anyone else thinks they should be. And so just please remember that. I am going to try to remember that. And in those frustrating moments, instead of shaming my child or hiding my child, just being proud of my child for who they are and highlighting those great gifts that they have and helping them recognize that too, so that they can take that and be proud of it and develop it and just become the best person that they can become, the person who they are. One of my favorite quotes goes like this: "The way you see a child is the way you treat them, and the way you treat them is who they will become." I need to remember that and see my child for the wonderful, unique person that he is. Each child for the wonderful, unique person that each of them are. Even if your child doesn't have disabilities, I'm sure there are those days where your child is just going to drive you nuts and you're just going to think, why can't you just be normal or do what I want you to do? Just take a step back. Remember that your child has their own unique special gifts. We don't need to compare them to anyone else. And that we can do this. Yeah, it might take a little more work. Like, the dad has to make sure his child doesn't float away. I mean, there are extra dangers there, right? Instead of just coloring on walls like normal children, the child's coloring on the ceiling. So it's a little harder sometimes. It's a little more challenging, to find out what our unique children need. But we can do it. We've got this. You're not the only one out there. There are other mamas out there. There are other children out there who are going through these same kind of challenges. But we can do it. You can do it. You got this. Have a great day. Bye.